Hello, fitness and wellness operators, and welcome to our next episode of Revenue Machines Podcast, sponsored by DX Factor. I'm your host, Ben Ludwig, and I am so excited for today's guest. Today, we have Wendy White with us, who is the Chief Marketing Officer of Daxko, a massive brand in fitness and wellness. Everywhere I go, I hear the name Daxko. I mean, you should have seen these guys' booth that they had at the last couple conferences that I went to. I mean, they are just a mammoth of a company. And Wendy, by the way, if you haven't heard of her, I'm surprised because she is a business-to-business and SaaS Chief Marketing Officer that has a extensive experience in understanding pipeline and growth and ROMI. She's worked for companies such as Intel, Microsoft, Expedia, and Tiger Connect, and now currently, of course, is at Daxko. She knows how to maximize and optimize every single lever and make sure you get the most out of every single dollar that you're putting into marketing. I mean, the conversations that I've had with this lady, I learn something every single time we talk. So, Wendy, you are a game changer in developing predictable and scalable revenue, and I'm so excited to have you here today.
No pressure after that introduction. So I better up my game for this session.
Look, I've the conversations that I've had with you in the past, Wendy, I'm like scribbling down notes. So if you're listening to this and you're an owner, operator, or executive in the fitness industry and you want to know more about marketing, this is the conversation to listen
Oh,
to.
okay, let's bring it. Let's bring it.
Let's do it. Let's do it. All right. Today's episode is marketing in the age of AI. So, how smart brands win in fitness and wellness. So, in this episode, Wendy White and I are going to explore how artificial intelligence is changing the way that fitness and wellness organizations think about marketing, personalization, and then also performance. So, from smarter targeting to better retention strategies, we're going to uncover how AI is unlocking some new ways to create value for members and marketers alike. So, Wendy, first of all, if you could just give us a brief introduction to Daxko. Tell us a little bit about what you do and then also the company as well.
All right. Well, I think if you're in the fitness industry, you may know Daxco, but maybe not. We've actually been around for more than 25 years. Got our roots in the nonprofit market. Was one of the original software providers for the YMCA market, and we still actually really participate in that market today. We're probably the largest provider of member management solutions, marketing automation, accounting, digital websites, et cetera, for YMCA's. But over the last 10 years, we've gone on a pretty major acquisition spree and entered the club and the boutique fitness market. So some of our flagship brands in those markets include MotionSoft and Club Automation in the club market, Zen Planner and SugarWOD in the boutique market. So we have our fingers in just about every segment of the market. And in every aspect of running a successful fitness business, from attracting and acquiring members through managing your classes, your scheduling, your check-in, your staff, through engaging and retaining members. Like, we have technology, services, payments that span that whole life cycle.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, Wendy, I originally heard about Daxco. I've spent years on the board of a group of YMCAs, which is how I originally heard about you guys a long time ago. And as you started acquiring new brands, all these brands that I've heard of, I'm going, okay, we better keep an eye out on Daxco. Let's see what they're up to. So it's been neat to see the growth of the company over the past few years.
It's a fabulous place to work. The thing I love the most about Daxco is it's a very mission-oriented company, like very customer-oriented. Our CEO loves to say, like, we exist for the benefit of our customers. He himself, his name is Jeff Van Dixhorn, came from the club market, started off as a club operator, and then started Club Automation, and he still continues to be a club operator. Everything from fitness clubs to multi-purpose clubs to pickleball clubs. He's like very, very involved in the industry, and because that everything we do is approached with an operator point of view, and that feels great. It feels great to think about our mission, which is like improving, powering wellness, improving lives. Like, we're really, really focused on making the fitness industry a better place to work, and contributing really fully to that.
Exactly. Yeah, Wendy, I know quite a few of the executives for Daxko, and I have noticed that there are quite a few like Jeff that come from the operator world and are able to speak the language and know what the pain points are. But I also know there's so much that we can learn from outside industries. And so, Wendy, my first official question for you is I'd love to hear your thoughts being in marketing leadership across tech and wellness. How have you seen the marketer's role evolve with the rise of AI?
Yeah, well, so I've been at Daxco for about 3 years, and what would say what I observed when I first joined Daxco is I think the industry is just lags a little bit what we see in other industries that more lean into technology to automate and grow, and yet, this year, what I've seen as well, especially in fitness, is that I think there's like a big wake up call that has happened with gym operators and the tech companies around AI. When I went to the Health and Fitness Association show in what I jokingly call the way back of March in an AI timeline, it
Feels
is
like
the way back of March. Every AI session at that show was standing room only. If you fast forward now, I would say I went to another great conference a few weeks ago, the Athlete Tech Innovation Summit,
yeah,
and we went from like, oh, what do I do, to which tools, how do I go fast, what do I do first in fitness, and I think that's great. For
yeah.
me as a tech marketer, I have been heavily into AI for more than 2 years. 2 years ago, I pulled my entire organization together and said, we're going to be AI first in marketing. I want everybody to go learn generative AI. Same thing when agentic AI started popping its head up last year. Same thing, lean in on it, required classes. And we've gone through a process of automating just about every aspect of things that we can. And we've got a whole roadmap of things we're doing. And so why is that? Because we can really, scale ourselves. As humans, start to work on the things that are really interesting and important challenges, and start pushing all the routine work down to automation. And so that's where I am. I'm very forward leaning on AI in my team, and I belong to a broad network of CMOs, and including some smaller groups that are very forward leaning CMOs on AI. And I will say everybody is terrified and excited and experimenting like crazy.
Exactly. Yeah, I love the way you put that, Wendy. Also, one of the things that I really appreciate about our conversations, and also what I've seen from Daxco as a whole, is Daxco is very much a practice what you preach company. You very much lean into putting together the expectations of what you're asking fitness operators to do themselves and putting that into practice with you and your team, which I think is great. And so I am curious to hear your thoughts as to with Daxco as a company, what you're recommending to your customers. What are you seeing as the best AI powered tools or strategies that are making the biggest differences for operators?
Yeah. So, for sure, we have, I guess, eaten our own dog food a little bit before we've started making this recommendation. So we brought like AI powered chat into our support process about 2 years ago, into our sales and website process about a year ago, right? So we were able to learn a lot from that, that allowed us to understand how important it is for those kind of customer experience oriented AIs to be part of every fitness business. So for sure, I think any gym, from the smallest boutique studio to the largest gym, can leverage AI in their customer acquisition and their customer experience strategy, including voice AI right on the front end of their website. No gym operator has time to staff a desk or a phone 24/7. They don't. They just can't, right? But AI can back them up and be that person picking up the phone when a lead is potentially thinking about calling in at 8 o'clock at night, when they're sitting down to watch TV for the night, or doom scrolling on their social media, and they think about, hey, I want to join a gym, I want to make an appointment. Like, you never know the hours that those leads are going to come in. You never know if it's a minute when you're out on the gym floor, helping a customer, so you can't grab the phone. Let AI back you up. So for sure, a voice assistant on the front end is an easy call. It's easy to do. The technology is there, AI chat on your website, AI to help you build content for your emails, to automate reviews. There's so many places where these really good AI bots are available, easy to deploy, easy to integrate with your member management platform.
Exactly. Yeah, I've had a lot of experience, not just in my own consulting, but Wendy, I've also been a student of the industry for many years, and so I'll join different gyms and then cancel here and see what the win back campaigns are, what the nurture sequence is there, and so I've already started to really experience a lot of that on the front end of the business. I think that is one area where more gym owners are more comfortable in experimenting is how can I utilize AI to help my staff get members in the door. The other question that I have though is I have talked to a lot of owners, and I'm sure a lot of our listeners today have a protectiveness over their members, especially in those owner operator situations where they almost have this territorial mindset around their members. And so I think that there's so much opportunity in the customer experience and retention aspects of our business as well. And so I'd love to hear your thoughts on maybe those owners that are hesitant to move into more AI or automation in that regard of those aspects of their business. What's your advice, or what do you see work?
Well, I think obviously the human touch and the personal relationship can never go away,
Sure.
right? It is actually what creates a lot of the brand experience of your gym, right? It,
Exactly. Yep.
it does for sure. But, what I would say is that we all have to remember there's a massive, generational shift and psychographic shift happening in the world right now where our consumers, and we have to think of them as that human is a consumer of all these experiences across every brand interaction they have. And every brand interaction they're having is upping the game right now around using AI, right? Like, I don't call Delta anymore. I never call Delta. I 100% chat into Delta, and 80% of my problem is solved by an AI chat. And I almost never get to a human. And I prefer that. And I'm almost a 60-year-old woman. Like, think about what the 23-year-old and the Gen Zers expect. They don't want to talk to you. If they're doing a transactional thing like booking a yoga class or movies, they want to just have that experience happen online.
Yeah.
So I think we need to really understand the massive psychographic shift that is happening in the market right now. And people prefer chat, they prefer those online experiences for transactional stuff. Of course they still want to see your face in the gym. They want to think that email is from you. You can record your own voice and have that be part of that experience. There's all things you can do to continue to bring your personal touch and your people touch to the brand experience, but you can do a lot more at scale with AI helping you do that.
Exactly. Yeah, that's so true. Wendy, one of the things that you mentioned about the fitness industry that I truly believe is that we lag behind when it comes to keeping up with other industries, especially when it comes to marketing. And so I'm curious on your thoughts of what are some of the ways that fitness businesses can find ways to be able to maximize on when I'm thinking about an ice cream sandwich, all of a sudden an ice cream sandwich ad pops up on my Instagram feed. How can? But then I look at a fitness ad, and the fitness ad is the same copy that I've seen from the other 20 gyms on my feed. The images are just stock images. So how do we catch up? How do we get into the customization and personalization approach?
Yeah. Well, you're not going to be surprised. I'm going to give you an answer that AI can help here as well.
Sure. Yeah.
So I think there's a couple things that are pretty easy to do that any fitness business of any size can take advantage of. So one is you can feed your data through an AI, your lead data, your conversion data, your ad data, and it will tell you what's working and what's not working and give you ideas on how to improve it so that more of your ads are higher converting. Right. So you can feed it through ChatGPT, but there are actually really fabulous tools like Daxko has one that we offer where it will feed it through and then it will actually custom design the ads for you and help you run the A/B test.
That's
So you
great.
can really optimize your ads. You can do that yourself. You can ask, our Daxko digital, we have a digital marketing services team that will help you with that. We can do that for you. But we can, that tool is really inexpensive and provides a lot of value. So I think the key thing is don't be afraid to experiment. A free ChatGPT account can actually do a lot of what I just described for you if you're willing to spend some time sitting down with it, feeding in your data and talking to it. It's amazing what you can come up with. So if you are extremely budget conscious, that's a good place to start. If you're not, get a partner who's actually leaning in and using these tools, because the algorithms don't lie. They can really help you go faster.
Yeah, that's great. Wendy, now let's talk about the opposite side of the spectrum. So the other things that I hear from a lot of owners or operators is they want their authenticity and their brand voice to really come through in their marketing. And so they will have internal teams that are hyper producing these cool videos and all this amazing content. And they spend hours and hours and thousands of dollars of man hours on putting together this one video for 4 likes on Instagram. So what's your advice to those people?
Yeah, tough, right? If you have a set of materials like that you've already produced, you have the raw materials for great AI content. So existing materials plus some direction from you can be the next 10 pieces of your content in about 10 minutes. So I know that sounds really frightening again, because again, you're like, well, AI is making this up or whatever. I used to be very nervous about it. I have a guy on my team who messaged me one day and he said, I just got a video to launch on our website and it's me and I never said it. And essentially what happened is the team trained the AI on his voice. And so he's still the voice of our content, but they're just cranking stuff out for him. He still has to approve it. He still has to give them his ideas and what he wants to say, but the AI is cranking the stuff out for him, right? So there are really inexpensive tools that do this stuff now. Willing to experiment.
Exactly. So Wendy, let's talk about some of those mistakes. So I know in my career, there's been so many times that I've tried new things that have just totally flopped, or I've used tools that I just did not get a return off of when I look at the data. And so in those cases, what's your advice for marketers, or what are some of the mistakes that you see people making trying to dive into AI too quickly? What does that look like in your experience?
Well, I think it's just like any other aspect of marketing. You actually can't pull back too fast. And what I mean by that is, like any campaign you put in market, you got to leave out running for a little while for, so say you're running a campaign on Instagram, you pull that off, in a few days because, it's not paying off. What you're probably doing is you're training the model to ignore your content. Exactly. Right? So I think having a little bit of patience, right, is good, but then also be willing to fail fast and change is also good. So you got to figure out the balance there, right? And I can't say what that is, but I can say if you're running a search ad, you're spending dollars on Google and you're pulling it off within 1 week, you just broke the whole algorithm and now you got to start over, and now you've just lost the entire money you spent in that first week. So make sure you understand how the channels work, because a lot of the channels now, they are run on AI and the AI needs time to train to do that. So for advertising, be patient. For creative, if you don't like what you get the first time, keep working at it. It's probably like you just need to keep telling it what you want better. One of the things I would say is you got to be brutally honest with AI and tell it that's good, that's bad, this isn't good enough. Like I talk to my AI all the time and say, you can do better, that's not good enough. Or I don't like it for this reason, it will learn and improve. So it's just interesting, like the same kind of feedback 5 years ago you might have given an agency, you just give to the AI now and it improves, except that it doesn't improve and let me come back in a week, except it comes back and says, okay, let me improve in a minute and here's the next version.
Exactly. Yeah, you can't really hurt its feelings. I mean,
you can't hurt its feelings.
My mama raised me a certain way, so I still say please and thank you to ChatGPT. But still, at the same time, you got to give it feedback, right?
Sam Altman, who's the CEO, says don't say please and thank you because it wastes processing power. But I will say I've heard a lot about experimentation with AI, and you get better results from the model when you tell it please and thank you. And and so yes, you can't hurt its feelings, but you can encourage it.
There you go. Wendy, I love what you talked about as far as the AI understanding your voice when you give it enough data. And I have noticed that it's to the point now to where in my usage of I can tell it to write me a message in my voice, and it's going to know exactly what I mean. It's going to use my verbiage, which is great. However, in your experience at an enterprise level, I would love to hear your thoughts on how do you train AI in regards to managing, thousands and thousands of accounts where you have to have different demographics that you're speaking to or different types of customer
Yeah.
base that they're speaking to. What are your thoughts there?
Well, so if you're a larger fitness business and you're getting very serious about targeting, and you have different personas, one is feed the data in, have it come back with your personas, and then create custom GPTs for each persona if you're using ChatGPT.
Right.
And what I mean by that, and it's really easy to create a custom GPT, it's sticky. If you have a paid account, the account has memory, right? If you create a custom GPT, then you train it on what you want to say to that GPT. So you give it a messaging doc that is for that audience. You give it your data that is for that audience and that segment. You give it your content that is for that audience. And then you always use that trained GPT and you're constantly improving it and it remembers that audience. So I you can have one GPT that's trained on all your stuff, but then you need to tell it, okay, today we're going to work on content for this persona or segment, and knows it, and make sure you're giving it that segment a name, it knows it, and it will remember and optimize your content for that. At Daxko, we have products for, like I said earlier, nonprofit, club, and boutique. We have custom GPTs trained for each of those markets and each of those products that we've fed with our messaging content, our product data, our customer data, and so it really knows. And then we've also, tell it what we want our brand voice to be. We have descriptive words, we have, personality that we've set for it. When we're giving it guidance, we tell it the temperature of creativity we want it to do, like from 0 to 10. Do we want them to be, bold and edgy and out there at a 10, or we want it to be, this is a pretty, this is, maybe we've had, which happens in software. Maybe we've had an outage and we need to tell a customer factually, this is what happened. Turn that temperature down and have it be, factual, clear and to the point. And you can do that if you've trained that GPT.
Yeah, that's great. Now, so from an enterprise level, that makes a lot of sense. Now let's drill down. In my consulting, Wendy, a lot of owners and operators that I talk to actually don't truly have a clear idea of who their target market is or who their ideal client is. I mean, I hear a lot, oh, well, we cater to everybody. Anybody can come here. We can help the 12-year-old that's trying to play college softball, and we can help the 80-year-old that's trying to, get rid of knee pain. What would you say to those people?
You and I both know catering to everybody is catering to nobody, right?
Yeah.
Right. I think, consumers still like to hear a message that is targeted to them. And if you're using any kind of social or ad channel, the algorithm will learn, for paid and organic, the algorithm will learn and start to bring that content more tailored to your audience. If you're only getting 4 likes, your message is probably overly generic, right? And it's not tailored. So I think you do need to, one, decide what is your brand, what is your brand moat, what is your authentic message to what audience. If the answer is you have more than one, then create your content to more than one and run experiments on that to make sure you're actually attracting that audience and you're successful. And again, this is where pulling data out. If you have a really good member management platform, and it's integrated with your digital marketing data, then you can pull that data and run it through, or the platform might tell you itself. Like, for example, in our boutique market, we have Zen Planner. Our Zen Planner Engage platform has all the AIs built in, and it can ingest your sales data, and then it can continue to optimize your content, your advertising, your production, your social media around that. It works very symbiotically with your member data, so you can see which members are checking in more, which members have memberships or signed up for classes, and you can use that data to train more. And I think in the club market, AI is exploding. We just signed a partnership with DX Factor to bring their portfolio of AIs into a deep integration with club automation and Daxko operations, so that those AIs can use that member data to train and get better. right? And I think that's what the fitness business owner needs is simplicity, tools that are designed for fitness, tools that are integrated with their member management platform, tools that are integrated with their acquisition and engagement workflows, so it can continually help to optimize that. And they don't need to be a marketing genius. They can use tools that are, really designed around helping them do these things.
Exactly. Yeah, Wendy, I just had a conversation with a friend who's an executive for a fitness brand, a large fitness brand, just the other day. And he and I were chatting about how the fitness industry has so much more data than most other industries that we're used to. If you think about retail, retail is trying to get you to sign up for their rewards program every time you check out. And if you don't, then everything they market to you is a guess. I mean,
Yeah.
there's a lot of data points that they can use, such as the geofencing. Where are you going? What are you doing? Do you have kids? I mean, they're gonna look into a lot of that psychographic information about you. However, we've got it all in a CRM as a fitness business because when you walk in the door, we get all that information from you from the get-go.
Yeah, that's
So
right. And, if you've got smart integrations in your club, like, we have a Techno Gym integration. If your member is integrating with, is using the Techno Gym app as part of your, club automation app and customizing their workout program, you actually know a lot about them.
exactly.
What group fitness classes they've gone to, what equipment they use, how often they're stopping at your smoothie bar, how often they're buying protein supplements from your front desk. You know a lot about that member.
Exactly, exactly. Wendy, I do consider myself quite the data nerd. I really want to have at least 70% of the information to be able to make a decision. And so when I consider that and start to look at data points, that helps me feel confident in my decisions. So for the owners and operators, the people that are listening to this podcast, what advice do you have for people that maybe don't have a keen identity when it comes to understanding numbers? Where do they start? How do they use AI to help them with that?
That's probably one of the things I do the most, is crunch numbers in AI. I was a joke that I was told there would be no math, which is if you're a Saturday Night Live fan from the 70s, you might get that reference, and now I've really dated myself. Um, the beautiful thing is you don't actually have to understand modeling to use AI, because modeling will do it. The AI will do it for you. It will create an algorithm. It will do the assessments, etc. You just have to know what business questions you want to ask and give it access to your data. Now, again, I would be careful about that. I would make sure that you're, protecting yourself by having a paid account if you're using ChatGPT to do that. I would make sure you've turned off training of the model so it's not sharing your private company data out on the internet. That's just a simple toggle inside your settings. I would do stuff like that. But I would also consider more like think about, what can your member management platform do itself, and what AIs that are custom built can you bring into your member management platform so that data is happening in a closed loop environment behind your firewall too. I would think about that. And again, these AIs are going to explode. A lot of them are going to be custom built to specific parts of the workflow and processes. There's going to be an AI library and portfolio available. We're just starting to be seeing the beginning of that, but that will explode. So you'll have choices of things you can pick, and then you can bring those behind your firewall, put them with your data, and then you can just ask it questions. And I think that's where we want to get to. And that is not science fiction. That is science 2025 and 2026. That is happening now. And again, you just have to have the, ask the questions, and we can help you out. Your partners can help you out.
Exactly. So Wendy, you actually led into my next question. I was actually very curious to hear your thoughts on what you're most excited about over the next 12 to 18 months when it comes to fitness businesses in general. What do you see coming? What do you think the next evolution of this is? Or forward looking, give us a look into your crystal ball.
Okay, well, let's start where I'm most terrified. So I wake up every Saturday morning. I don't have an alarm clock on Saturday mornings. I just wake up, and because I'm insane, I wake up very, very early. And before I go, hit the gym for my workout and go play pickleball with my husband, which happens every Saturday morning, I spend some time on Twitter, reading up on what happened in SEO this week, search engine optimization. So
Okay.
why do I say I'm terrified about this? So this week, Google hit like a 90% market share on search engine data for the first time in like 20 years. Where is all that search gone? It's gone to the AIs. It's gone to ChatGPT, number one, and then other AIs. Why does that matter for a fitness business? Well, if you look at your data of where your leads come from, what percentage come from somebody going on to Google and saying, gym near me, or health club near me, or pickleball facility near me, versus what come from your advertising or your social media, right? Where do your leads come from? How much are people driving by and seeing your sign, word of mouth, somebody Googling gym near me, or club near me, etc. Think about those lead acquisition channels.
Yeah.
And what I would say from the terrifying standpoint is, if you're not thinking about that and you don't have a smart marketing director that is thinking about that, you stand to lose out to the gym down the street that does, because search is changing. And I know that for most gyms, about 40% of their traffic in the door for leads comes from somebody searching gym near me. And when they do that, the site, the gym that is most AI optimized is the one that's going to start winning those searches going forward. So one is, if you aren't leaning into understanding how to optimize your web experience, your social media experience, your Google My Business experience, your Google reviews and Yelp reviews for AI, you're going to start losing out to somebody in your market that is. So you got to start there. Like, that is a time sensitive and critical thing. That's a terrifying thing, right? And so I would say, educate yourself and make sure you have somebody on your staff that is thinking about that.
Yeah.
One of the most important things you can do for your gym is to make sure you're getting a huge number of Google reviews and Yelp reviews in a routine way by automating your process to ask for those reviews and asking customers to say things about your gym that resonate with your core ICP, your ideal customer that you want to attract, so that you're showing up first in AI search. It isn't just local SEO anymore. It isn't just about having a Google My Business account. It is absolutely about making sure you're ready for when AI takes over search. I will say that's happening. Most websites have lost 20% of their traffic this year because all of that is being answered in the search, and it's not even getting to your website. So your website is still super critical because it trains the search. Sure. And it's still critical for those 80% of the other people that are still coming to your site, but that number will go down over time, and so you have to train the search.
Exactly. Yeah, Wendy, I was going to ask you, what action steps do you have for owners and operators in going forward into an AI era? But I feel like you've already answered that. I mean, that's what people need to think about, right?
It's critical. It's really critical. So yeah, and we're learning a lot every day about what it takes to do that. So we're spending a lot of time. Like I said, I wake up every Saturday morning, and then what I do is I read those articles that I find, and then I put them into our internal Slack channel and schedule them for Monday morning to start a conversation of, are we doing this? Should we be doing this? Like, and I bet my staff is terrified of, like, Monday morning, here's the 5 SEO questions from Wendy. But SEO is our number one marketing channel, and it's usually a gym's number one marketing channel. So we should all be really leaning in on that.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, Wendy, where can our listeners find good information on trending AI? I mean, it's such a hot topic. There's information everywhere. So what do you recommend?
Yeah. Well, there is information everywhere. Because I'm both excited and terrified about it, I just started like a weekly podcast with my digital director. So I'm starting to put a weekly podcast out about SEO and AI and digital marketing transformation. So I guess I'm plugging myself here. So we're launching a Substack page for Daxko to put all that on over the next week or so. So you'll be able to find that there, and that might be one good resource. And we're hoping to be a good resource for everybody, because I've become fascinated with it. Ben, I will tell you, like, I'm at the end of my career, and yet I feel more energized about what's happening right now than I have in maybe, since the beginning of the cloud era, like 15 years ago.
Yeah.
AI transformational for everything, but for marketers, it is like insanely transformational. And it is it is a keep me up at night, but also I'm having so much fun experimenting, learning, and growing. right now, I feel like I'm back, young in my career again.
That's so great. Wendy, one of
Yeah.
the things that I love about the fitness industry is I too, just like you, have really been able to enjoy my career, even through the highs and lows, because we have an opportunity to be able to make a difference in an industry and in people's lives, which I think is amazing. And so the more people we can market to, the more opportunity we have to change lives, right?
All of that.
Awesome. Well, Wendy, this has been such an awesome conversation. Thank you so much for all of your insights and all these gems that you've dropped for our listeners today. So, Wendy, if the listeners want to learn more about Daxco or learn more about you, where can they find your information?
Well, they can definitely come to Daxko.com. And, like I said, we're starting to post a lot more blogs about digital marketing and AI. We'll have our Substack out and we'll have a regular routine video that we're putting out every week with some key tips and tricks. So they should definitely subscribe to that.
Fantastic. Awesome. Well, Wendy, it's been such a pleasure to have you here today. So thank you again for being on the show. For all of you listeners, just as a reminder, we are sponsored by DX Factor, who has actually partnered with Daxco. So we are very excited about this partnership and what it means for the future of the fitness industry. If you want to learn more about DX Factor, be sure to stop by our website or check the show notes for some free giveaways. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you on the next episode of Revenue Machines Podcast.